it done. Try to stay over 500 right now. The Fish a game over heading into this series against the Cubs. When we get back, little Logan Morrison for you.
Back with Jeff Conan. I'm Craig Benavides here in front of the Marlins dugout, and one of the topics I want to talk to you about here is Logan Morrison, who will try to tie a Marlin rookie record. The overall record, your teammate Luis Castillo, 42 games getting on base consecutively. That was during that long hit streak he had. Lomo has found a one way or another to get on there now in 35 straight. The rook record is Hanley, 36 straight for the Marlins.
Well, you look at the rookie. He is a rookie, and he comes up here picking up right where he left off in AAA. A lot of patience. You've seen his per plate pitch average is way up above average. He's been hitting the gaps, doubles, triples. His power hasn't really shown up as much as it will at some point, but he's done a phenomenal job at a new position and all as far as all that's concerned too. He's been playing first base. He played first base all minor leagues, and about the last week or 10 days in the minor leagues, start playing left field because they figured that he would be used more in left field up here, especially with the Chris Coughlin injury. So he's done an outstanding job.
Ryan Dempster did something only Javier Vazquez does in Major League history, and that is have an actual record of 100 wins and 100 losses. But it's been a long journey for him. He started, of course, with the Marlins. He's had injury. He's been a reliever. His career as a Fish. Your thoughts on this guy who's really developed into a solid Major League pitcher?
Well, early on, especially you see him here in the Florida Marlins uniform, his slider is probably regarded as one of the best in the National League. He's been a workhorse. He's going to go over 200 innings this year for the 6th time in his career. And what an unbelievable guy to have in the clubhouse. Just a fun guy. Does a ridiculous Harry Carey impersonation, which is a lot of fun. Keeps the clubhouse light and really someone necessary to have when you're trying to go for a championship season.
And he had a battle through injury to work his way back. His strikeouts of 209 back in 2000 is still the Marlins single season record. You littered around the Marlin pitching records, you'll see the name Ryan Dempster quite a bit. For the Marlins, it'll be Alex Sanabria going for the Fish. There he is. He'll go for his 5th win. He's done a terrific job as a starter. First ever appearance coming up against the Cubbies. Rich and Tommy will call it for you next.
moving forward. And by AT&T, find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. All right, let's do this. Cubs, Fish. Cubs lineup, they are 65 and 81. And they'll lead it off with Kosuke Fukudome, who's actually having a very good year. 376 on base percentage. The rookie Starlin Castro's hot. Marlon Byrd, a solid season as well. Aramis Ramirez in the cleanup spot. Xavier Nady is at first base. Giovanni Soto has battled through some injuries. He's having a productive year. Alfonso Soriano in left field. Blake DeWitt at second. And Ryan Dempster will hit ninth.
You know what, Rich? I think it's just a good feeling for Alex Sanabia to get back on the mound. September 10th was the last time he pitched. It was a game in Washington, and he pitched extremely well. 6 2/3 innings. Gave up just 3 hits and no runs. Then he started to serve that suspension. So back out there, ready to work against the Cubs. So most of these Cubs hitters seeing Alex Sanabia for the first time. And it works the other way around, too. He'll be seeing the Cubs hitters for the first time.
And the Cubs impressively just swept a 3-gamer in St. Louis against a Cardinal team that's fighting for their postseason lives. They've fallen 7 back of the Reds. Good to have Sanabia back on the hill. Then he splits the plate with a fastball. It's 0-1. And another strike. Mike Everett calling balls and strikes with Adrian Johnson, Andy Fletcher, and the veteran Tim McClellan at third base. You see Fukudome calling time. Sanabia working quickly.
Yeah, he likes to. He usually does. So hitters try to step out and break up that rhythm a little bit.
Good fastball, and it's fouled towards the Cubs bullpen. So it's 0-2. Alex has turned 22. Fukudome pulls that changeup foul. Chula Vista, California, Castle Park High School. He's the second Castle Park product to get to the big leagues. The first, former Texas Ranger Benji Gill. 0-2 is in the dirt, but of course Chula Vista, an area that has produced a couple other Marlins of recent time, Sergio Mitre and Mike Jacobs. 1-2 in the air to center. Maven goes back. Cameron settles and makes the catch.
We've talked about the Mitre glove that sometimes Sanabia uses because he's had a chance to work out with Sergio Mitre, and Mitre gave him one of his gloves.
Edwin Rodriguez had a chance to talk about Sanabia, and it's our Geico quote on returning from suspension. I think the break will help him regroup and watch the game from a distance. I'm sure it's going to help him physically and mentally. And I think mentally, that's as Castro goes after the first pitch fastball. Gabby and Stanton in full pursuit. And Stanton's got room and makes the catch. I think his mental state is what's most impressive about this 22-year-old. That's where the Marlins have been most impressed.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really is funny because it goes back to our first meeting with Alex Sanabia. You just got that feeling before we ever saw him throw a pitch at the major league level.
It was in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Marlon Byrd now. Of all the Cubs, and the Cubs certainly have lots of big names, Marlon Byrd has been a pleasant surprise. He's the only Cub All-Star this year. And a very solid year. Defensively, Tommy, here are the Fish.
Well, you're going to see a few changes. Not too much in the outfield. Cameron Maven starting in center. And Emilio Bonifacio starting at shortstop. Tracy and Gabby at the corners. Brad Davis behind the plate. Of course, Dan Oakland out there at second base.
Fastball misses up. Byrd now 33, a guy that banged around a variety of teams. Finally had his breakout years in Texas. And last year, 20 homers, 89 RBIs. It was his first full Major League season. Cubs signed him to a 3-year, $15 million deal, and he's lived up to his end of the bargain this year.
I think the real thing that's been a comfort feeling for Marlon Byrd is the fact that coming over as the new hitting coach for the Cubs, Rudy Jaramillo. And Rudy Jaramillo got things turned around for Marlon Byrd in Texas.
There's the breaking ball that Sanabia has worked on. Mike Quaddy.
How about that? 14-7, but over 1,200 wins in the minor leagues as a manager.
Stanton, that ball's hit pretty well. Gets short of the track and makes the catch. So Sanabia goes 1, 2, 3 through the Cubs. Here come the Fish, their first look at Ryan Dempster. A game over 500 after that sweep at the hands of the Phillies. Emilio Bonifacio is at short and leading off. An outstanding September. Logan Morrison, Gabby Sanchez, a pair of rookies follow him. Dan Uggla, Chad Tracy, Mike Stanton. Cameron Maben's back in the lineup. Brad Davis will catch, and Sanabia hits ninth.
Hard to imagine Ryan Dempster, now 33 years old, and we saw him in the beginning when he first joined the Marlins in 1998.
Dempster actually drafted by Texas, but the Marlins acquired him the next year in '96. Bonifacio runs up, slugs that bunt. It's a fair ball, and a nice play by Giovanni Soto. Pretty solid catcher.
Yeah, got up and made that play in a hurry. If the ball bounces one more time, Bonifacio a little better chance. There's the defense for the Cubs in this one tonight. Soriano, Bird, and Fukudome in the outfield. Ramirez and Castro, the young shortstop, having a terrific year. Blake DeWitt at second. We saw him with the Dodgers earlier in the year. Xavier Nady at first base, and Giovanni Soto behind the plate.
Giovanni Soto's having a nice bounce back year after a real struggle last year. And Dempster runs a fastball away. Lomo, the eye looking better, but still not all the way healed. 35 straight he's been on base. This is game number 46 in his major league career. He's got 16 doubles. And a good walk to strikeout split for a hitter, especially a young hitter. He's walked 33 times. He has struck out just 36 times.
Yeah, you don't see too many young hitters with that split. But guys like Logan Morrison, Gabby Sanchez, they had those same numbers in the minor leagues, too.
Tommy, the waggle of the glove for Dempster, something he developed when someone thought he might be tipping pitches.
Yeah, by waggling the glove that way, it's hard to pick up what kind of grip he might have, either with the slider or his out pitch. He likes to use that split. Got enough of a fastball, mostly upper 80s now. You'll see 90 once in a while. But at a stage in his career where he just knows how to pitch. A slider with good tilt to it. He uses that split as an out pitch. And yeah, he was a popular Marlin.
And Logan Morrison walks. There you go. 36 consecutive games for Lomo. And up comes Gabby Sanchez. Hanley's not in the lineup. The elbow bothered him on Wednesday. And Edwin, if Hanley wasn't 100%, didn't want him in the lineup. He wanted Emilio Bonifacio out there. And so Hanley is listed as day-to-day.
So Gabby moves into that number 3 spot and brings those solid rookie numbers. 35 doubles, 143 base hits.
Yeah, 17 games left, so Gabby's got a little over 2 weeks to add to his rookie totals. Probably an outside shot at Rookie of the Year if he has a really good 2.5 weeks. He's going to have to put up some big numbers to surpass what Buster Posey has done in a short time.
Well, yeah, and I think you get a couple of guys, we were talking about this the other night, who are probably going on to postseason or in pennant races right now, and Buster Posey and Jason Hayward. So they'll be getting a little more attention. Starlin Castro, the young shortstop with the Cubs here, has had a terrific rookie year.
Yeah, he's had a Chris Coughlin-like second half.
And he's only 20. So a bright future for him and for the Cubs to know they have a young shortstop for quite a while.
Not often you see a major league game with two 20-year-olds starting and producing like Castro and Mike Stanton. Gabby's waiting on this pitch. Off the end of the bat, shallow left, Soriano comes on, and he makes a running catch. Alfonso Soriano at times can be adventurous out there. He's made 7 errors this year.
He can make the spectacular play, and then he can kind of botch up a routine play. There's a great example of the type of pitcher Dempster is. Early in his career, that 2-0 pitch probably would have been a fastball, but he threw the slider a little off speed and had Gabby just out in front.
Now Uggla, 2 homers shy of his career high. The 94 RBIs is a new career high. And he had a very good series when these two teams met in early May. The Marlins took 2 of 3 in Chicago against the Cubs.
That was so long ago, Rich, it almost feels like we haven't seen the Cubs this year.
Marlins made 2 trips to Chicago in a week's time. 3-gamer against the Cubs, came home, went back, 3-gamer against the White Sox. Ball and a strike. There's your Fox Tracks, brought to you by Toyota.
Tell you what, Ryan Dempster has been a very durable pitcher.
It's amazing that in this Marlin lineup, guys like Uggla don't have more at-bats against him. Uggla is just 0 for 7 against Dempster. You understand it with the rookies, for sure.
Look at that, 100 wins, 100 losses. You remember, for Dempster in 05, 06, and 07, he was the Cubs' closer. Coming back from arm surgery. They felt that was the best spot for him. And in 05, he had 33 saves.
Dempster, a 2-time All-Star with the Fish in 2000, with the Cubs in 2008. Fastball rides outside to Uggla.
He sneaks that 91 in there just to show it to you.
He really has been, I think, one of the more underappreciated starters in the last 3 seasons, including this one in the National League. If you look at his ERA, Morrison bluffs, and he's out at first. Lomo got caught away from the bag, and Adrian Johnson calls him out. count. Second inning now, scoreless. Cubs fish. Aramis Ramirez, Xavier Nady, and Giovanni Soto. And Ramirez in the cleanup spot. He has battled through injuries this year. Rib cage injury, and the latest one that kept him on the shelf for a couple of weeks here in September, a quad.
Now, he was just introduced to a real good Alex Sanabia changeup that last pitch.
He's one of the Cubs that comes with a high price tag and is signed through this year and through next year at $18 million a year. And for the Cubs, there's not a whole lot of flexibility payroll-wise. $144 million when the season started. And they already have $103 million committed to next year. And this is a team that is 16 under. Gabby comes into foul territory and makes that play.
Well, you got $36 million just between Ramirez and Soriano.
And Soriano's actually signed through 2014 at $18 million.
Wow.
Here is Nady.
Nady's done a good job. He's gotten an opportunity to play a little first base ever since the departure of Derek Lee.
Always been pretty solid with the bat. He was a college infielder on the other side of the diamond out of Cal, where he was a third baseman. Fouls it back to the screen.
He's one of the everyday players that has had Tommy John surgery.
Oh, 2. Stayed on that breaking ball and drives it into right center for a base hit. Stanton picks it up. Nady's got a one-out single. And we check in with Allison Williams. Allison?
Hey guys, we talked in Marlins Live about how much better this Cubs team has played under new manager Mike Quade, and he said one of the things he's really tried to do with this team is find that balance between playing with intensity and also playing this game relaxed. He said it's really important, especially with young guys, that they play this game relaxed, that they go out there and they have fun. He understands, especially when you're young, you're going to have days that are tougher than others, and you expect that as long as they don't turn into 4- and 5-day stretches, which they haven't for the most part. He's been really happy with these young guys. And another thing, Marlon Byrd pointed out, he said with Piniella at times it was tough because he's such a baseball guy. He doesn't talk about a lot of things, and the issues he was dealing with his family and with his ailing mother, he never really expressed to the team. So I think that really weighed pretty heavily on the clubhouse, guys.
He's missed, and if the skipper's watching over in Tampa, a shout out.
Shout out from us, certainly.
Absolutely. Here is Soto. You'll remember Giovanni Soto was the Rookie of the Year in 2008 and then had a big sophomore dip last year where he hit just .218. But this year is a totally different story. Not only does he have those numbers there at .280, his on-base percentage is .394. Hooks a ground ball to third. Tracy gets it out there. Ugla steps into the pivot and almost got him.
Would have been tough to get a double play, but a good effort by Dan Ugla. I didn't even think he had a play.
Well, with Lou Piniella resigning, there was news today in baseball as well that Joe Torre going to step down and that Don Mattingly will take his spot. Everyone knows that Bobby Cox is riding off into the sunset. And for Cox, the only one of the three that looks like he might ride off into the postseason, which is a great way to go out. Soriano fouls a pitch back. Alfonso Soriano, with his 22 homers, 74 driven in. And it will be interesting to see if the Cubs are able to or try to somehow move him out from under his enormous contract.
First of all, Rich, if Jim Hendry can move Milton Bradley, he's got a shot to move Soriano.
The Cubs will have to eat a lot of salary or take on someone else's bad contract to do it. But Soriano has had a terrific career. He's 34 now.
He's one of those guys when he was playing second base that when Dan Ugla approached the 4 years of hitting 30 or more home runs as a second baseman, you kind of thought Soriano already had, but he had 3 years as a second baseman hitting 30 or more home runs.
Breaking ball. Pokes it down towards the Marlins bullpen. And the count 2-2. Alex Sanabia making his 10th big league start. Beat the Nationals his last time out. Did not give up a run. Pitched deep into the 7th inning. Got 2 outs in the 7th before he left. And misses low with the changeup.
And during his time of serving the suspension, he was able to get his work in, get his bullpen in. All the stuff you do in between starts. It's just been a little longer in between. September 10th, his last time out in that game against Washington.
Runner on the move on the 3-2. Morrison doesn't see it, now has lost it, and it falls next to him, and that's going to cost the Marlins a run. And you can see Logan, I just saying to Maben, I just didn't see it.
Boy, that is frustrating. Cameron Maben tried to get over there as quickly as possible, and it was deep enough where Bonifacio really couldn't help out too much either. You talk about a frustrating feeling, and we're at that time when the twilight is on us, and it makes it tough for outfielders, infielders too, but infielders are a little closer to the hitter so they can pick up the ball off the bat a little easier. Outfielder, it's tough.
So the Marlins are going to walk DeWitt and pitch to Dempster. There's that look. You've got the football lights, which are different than most baseball stadiums. And then as you saw in that last shot, with the sun setting on that side of the stadium, there's still light up there, but not nearly enough. And we've seen left fielders for many, many years in this ballpark struggle at this time of night. That's a helpless feeling for an outfielder and a helpless feeling for a pitcher. who makes a good pitch.
Made a good pitch. You figure you've gotten out of the inning, 3rd out, and then you look out in the outfield and you see your outfielder staggering around. He doesn't know where the ball is.
Here's Dempster, a good athlete and guy that can put the bat on the ball.
Yeah, he's not the greatest of hitters, but he's been a real good bunter over the years. But you're right, he seems like he'll put the bat on the ball. Not an easy out. And I think he's actually gotten better as the years have gone on.
Sanabia gets a strike, and it's 0-2. Puts the bat on the ball. Tracy across the diamond and gets the out. Surprised he didn't walk over to 3rd and step on it.
Yeah, me too.
But an out's an out. One of Tommy's favorites out there, DJ Vertigo. Joanna out there as well. The Cubs have a run, albeit one on a fly ball lost in the twilight.
Yeah, that's why you want to get back up and swing the bat now. The Marlins, so it's good to see Alex Sanabia get out of that inning, because now you feel maybe you have a shot to get one in the air too before it gets total darkness.
Chad Tracy, or rather Dan Ugla, remember Ugla was at the plate when Logan Morrison got picked off. So it's Ugla who will lead it off, then Tracy, then Mike Stanton against Dempster.
Dan had a good series, 4 for 10 against the Phillies. And as expected, after hitting that 30th home run, has gotten himself in a nice little groove.
Dempster bounces a breaking ball up there. Ugla has the advantage of already gone through it. He's already gone through an at bat.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario as a hitter, because your first time up, you're kind of just getting a feel for the pitcher, but you've already gotten that. So you have to see, is he going to throw me the same? Is he going to mix things up a little bit?
Oh, a strike. I think that was one of those balls that was a strike, but it didn't look like it because Soto stabbed at it with his glove, and it was in there.
It was in there, a fastball too.
Soto was set up in and dashed across the plate to get it. Here's the 1-2. Dempster misses away. I think he's been underappreciated in terms of what he's been able to do. I know he was an all-star in 08. Last year his ERA was 3.65. His ERA right now is 3.62, and that's for a team that is 16 games under right now. Ugla on the breaking ball, flips it into right field, and it's going to land for a base hit. Dan's turning, headed to second. The throw's waiting for him. He is out. It'll go as a single. Fukudome made the original dive. He's got a very good throwing arm, and he showed it off on that play.
A little chancy with nobody out, a little bloop, and it drops out of the reach of Fukudome. He gets a glove on it, but the ball just doesn't get away from him far enough. And Dan Ugla, hate to penalize him for being aggressive. He's trying to get in scoring position, but Fukudome came up with a perfect throw.
Here's Tracy. Of all the Marlins tonight, Chad Tracy's the guy that has the best numbers against Ryan Dempster. 5 for 8, a homer, and 3 RBIs.
Yeah, you mentioned how well Dempster's pitched on the road, too. He's 5 and 6 at home, but 8 and 4 away from Wrigley with a better ERA.
Of course, Tracy started the year with the Cubs. He was released on July 1st, appeared in just 28 games, hit .250. Slicing liner into left center field. That one's going to get in there, and it bounces off the wall. Tracy on his way to second, and he's in there with a double.
Nice swing on a pitch away. Chad Tracy shows some pop to the opposite field. Hits that one off the wall in left center. It's our Checkers double of the game.
So he's 6 for 9 now against Dempster.
He owns Ryan Dempster.
They were teammates when the season started. Here's Stanton now, and this is going to be interesting. You got the 20-year-old slugger against as wily a veteran as you'll find in Dempster. Comes inside to Mike. Cubs have only read about Mike Stan and seen him on the highlight shows. He was obviously not around when the two teams met in early May. Two and 0. Dempster, Canadian, British Columbia. Of course, the Cubs had the best Canadian product on the mound in Ferguson Jenkins. And Dempster is second among Canadian-born pitchers in innings pitched to Fergie Jenkins. Stanton's not getting much to hit here. It's 3-0 now.
And how about that? Got a 3-0 slider.
Baker Concrete Super Saturday gets you the concert, fireworks, giveaway, and all that. Gilberto Santa Rosa is tomorrow night. The Steve Miller Band finishes the year against the Pirates on the 2nd. 1-877 Marlins, the number to call, or visit marlins.com.
You know, you don't think about it too much, but Ryan Dempster, when he was traded from the Marlins to Cincinnati in July of '02, the Marlins got Juan Encarnacion. And Juan Encarnacion figured very prominently in '03 in the World Series.
Maben takes a strike. Cameron, of course, back in the lineup. He'd been bothered by a pretty severe stomach virus. And he last appeared on Sunday. As a starter. Did have a pinch hitting appearance on Wednesday night. but was not feeling well on Wednesday. The day off was a good one. Chopper brings Castro to the bag, and out there, Maven beat the throw to first. That's going to give Brad Davis a chance to drive in a run.
I don't know if Castro could have. The only way they were going to get a double play there is if Castro himself had taken the bag, stepped on the bag, and completed the throw himself. But with the speed of Cameron Maven, let's see if Castro could have. Maybe, maybe not. But no chance to get the double play once he turned it over to his second baseman, Blake DeWitt.
So here's Davis. First base isn't open, but second is, and the pitcher is on deck. Let's see how Dempster goes after Davis. Well, with a fastball right down the middle. That may be the best pitch he sees in the at-bat.
You know what? You go up there in that situation, you kind of think backwards. So you think, well, you're going to see some breaking balls, and you see a first pitch fastball right down the middle.
That's off the plate, and it's 1-1. Dempster's last 4 road starts, he's 4-0 and an ERA of under 1. And since that time, you got to go all the way back to August 1st for those 4 road starts. Only one starter has a lower road ERA, which is unbelievable to get lower than 0.99 until you hear that it's Roy Oswalt. The Marlins can attest to his success of late. Got him. Yeah, he showed him that first pitch fastball, split the plate, and then went breaking ball to get him out. Be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Fish.
What is it, Rich, they say with big universities, big college football teams, they travel well? The Cubs travel well.
So if this were a bowl game, the Cubs would have bought their allotment up and maybe then some.
And then some, yeah.
Even in a year where they're obviously struggling on the field. Fukudome, Castro, and then Marlon Byrd.
You start watching these hitters now, guys who have experience, second and third time around against Alex Sanabia.
There's a changeup that just misses. There's got to be some weird mojo going on in Atlanta for Brave fans. Braves are on the road tonight. But as the Brave fans watch the Mets take a 3-0 lead in the third inning over the Braves, the Phillies just scored 6 runs for Roy Oswalt and have a 6-1 lead over Washington in Philadelphia.
Stay hot, Philadelphia. Wow.
They are absolutely smoking. Now, the Braves do have a half-game lead in the wild card, and it's San Diego who is now in second in the wild card.
Yeah, San Francisco's jumped ahead in the National League West. Giants with a 10-2 win last night against the Dodgers.
San Diego, of the 3 teams competing for the top spot in the West, the Giants, the Padres, and the Rockies. Here's the 2-2. The Padres have the toughest schedule. They're in St. Louis. They lost last night 4-0. It's a 4-game series in St. Louis. Cardinals fighting for their lives in the postseason. The Padres also still have to play Cincinnati. That's after they travel to Dodger Stadium for a 3-game set against the Dodgers. Sanabia thought he had a strikeout there. And let's see what Fox Track spits out. Yep, it was a good pitch. It was in the zone. Fukudome's at bat now spans 9 pitches. So of those 3 teams, that's a tough spot for the Padres. The tough part for the Rockies is they're on the road a lot. They got 16 left, and they play 10 games on the road, and of course they're markedly different at home at Coors Field.
Right now, the team that looks the best and is on the best roll is San Francisco. They have a solid closer. Brian Wilson's been closing out games. Their rotation is on a roll. Fukudome drawing his 57th walk. He struck out 60 times, so he's always one of those guys pretty much even with the strikeouts and walks.
Fukudome, not a great base stealing threat. This is not a team that has a lot of speed. Castro at the plate, and he's been one hot rookie.
Yeah, we saw Castro just a few days after he'd been called up. I think the Cubs were in Cincinnati. He was called up, then they came home, and that's when the Marlins came to Chicago.
He made, I want to say, 3 errors in 1 game against the Fish.
Yeah, in his debut at Wrigley Field. That's what it was.
But I'll tell you what, he's having as I said it earlier, a Coughlin-like second half. Since July 10th, he's hitting .353. Battling a bruised hip. He's listed as day-to-day. So I guess he actually would be inning to inning since he's in the game.
He's in the game. So you could make an argument for Starlin Castro as Rookie of the Year.
Hitting .312. The biggest hurdle for Castro, and it's the norm with any young shortstop defensively, he's made 25 errors. Runner goes. Little hit and run. Tracy to his left. Out is Castro as Gabby went into the line to get the catch with the tag. A lot of things happening on this at bat. A lot of things in motion.
I think Castro wanted to his credit, he stays there. He didn't step out. He was trying to ask for time. He didn't get it. And then the pitch came and everything was happening. Yeah. Fukudome was on the move. And he hit the little chopper to third.
Yeah, Mike Everett, the home plate umpire, is seeing all of that happen while he's asking for time. He sees the pitch coming and the runner running. Marlon Byrd with Fukudome at second. Cubs got their run last inning with 2 outs on a routine fly ball to left center field that was anything but for Logan Morrison, who lost the ball in the twilight. It landed next to him for an RBI double. Sanabia misses outside.
Since that first inning, Sanabia hasn't been quite as sharp. And you've noticed the Cubs hitters have been a little more patient, and he's gotten that pitch count up too.
57th pitch coming.
You and I were talking before the game. You made a good point. For the Marlins to maintain a record over 500, they're going to need, down these final 2.5 weeks, solid outings from Sanabia, from Chris Volstad, from Anibal Sanchez.
I think the feeling coming out of the Philly series for the Marlins was they didn't have their starting pitchers, and there were two guys that were suspended, Sanabia and Volstad. Volstad wouldn't have pitched in the series anyway, having pitched on Sunday. But the reality is, starting tonight with 17 games left, there's no Josh Johnson, there's no Ricky Nolasco. So all of a sudden the top of the rotation is Anibal Sanchez, and then maybe Sanabia and Volstad. If you compare those last two with how they've pitched over the last month, you probably have to slot Sanabia ahead of Volstad in terms of results. Good fastball, and he strikes him out. He was sitting on that changeup, and he snuck it by him.
That's a good pitch because that'll keep the other hitters honest. You know, all of a sudden they'll file that away, and you know what? He can't sneak it by there, and he snuck it by a real good hitter, Marlon Byrd.
Got to get Ramirez, though, with Fukudome still out at second. Aramis Ramirez, his 8th year as a Cub. Changeup catches the corner.
Aramis Ramirez has been consistent, even battling injuries at times, but 8 times he's had 20 home runs and 75 RBIs. He's been a run producer.
Yeah, that stretch of 100 RBI seasons. Last year, dislocated his shoulder. He played in just 82 games. This year, he's had the rib cage and the quad issues.
That's where the Cubs really got hurt early in the year. He was hurt. He wasn't producing. Derek Lee got off to a real slow start. He was not producing.
It looks like, Tommy, second time through, Sanabia is challenging guys with his fastball a little more.
That's good because he doesn't want them just sitting on the changeup. They saw a lot of changeups first time around. Another fastball. This is where that third pitch, the slider that he's worked on, would come in real handy too, if he feels comfortable throwing it.
Something that when the Marlins sent him down for a couple of starts in AAA, Randy St. Clair knew that Sanabia had the slider, just didn't use it, and it wasn't real good. They worked on a few things and sent him out with some orders to work on it. That ball's hit to left. Morrison there. A nice sliding catch. Nice play by Logan. That saves a run. Bottom of the third coming up. Cubs have a 1-0 lead. Kick back, relax. With a nice cold Corona and lime, enjoy a Corona today. Sanabia stands in, 9-1-2 for the Fish. That's the importance of Dempster striking out Brad Davis to finish off the second. He gets to go after Sanabia, who pops this one towards first. Nady runs out of room, and it's 0-2. 1 for 16.
Well, you know, Rich, my day started well, and you know why. Once I read that Niger Morgan was finally going to start serving a suspension. 8 games.
8-game suspension and a fine.
And a $15,000 fine. So it finally happened.
Sanabia strikes out. And he started serving that suspension tonight in Philadelphia. Emilio Bonifacio with Logan Morrison behind him.
So the Phillies, in a way, have been the beneficiaries of the fight the Marlins had with the Nationals.
That's right.
They missed one starter for sure.
And they'll miss Morgan this weekend. Bonifacio takes a strike. Emilio out trying to bunt for a hit back in the first. And Dempster misses inside. Bonifacio finished the Phillies series with a couple of hits. Hits were tough to come by in a couple of those ball games. The Cole Hamill start, actually all 3 of them. The Marlins, of the 3 starters they saw against the Phillies, they had the most success in terms of hits against Roy Halladay.
Against Halladay, yeah. It's only the 3rd start for Bonifacio at short. We've seen him in the outfield, at center, and third. But as always, versatile and willing to go out there anywhere.
See, Dempster likes to start with that split grip. Bonifacio pounds it on the ground. Nady dropped it, flips it. He is out. Ooh, that's a bang-bang play with Bonifacio's speed, but Dempster got over.
Well, I thought once Nady bobbled it that they weren't going to have a chance. He made a nice recovery, and give Dempster credit getting over there quickly. Pretty routine until he bobbles it. Now it doesn't become routine, and that is really, really close. But I think they got him.
It's a good call by Adrian Johnson. Well, Fox Exmo is usually the definitive look.
Now, Nady forgot something. Let me get the ball. And thankfully for him, Dempster was right there on the spot.
Yep. Got him.
Good call.
Now Morrison. You got to know that Morrison would love to do some damage. I'm sure he feels awful about the one run that's up on the board, a fly ball that he lost in the twilight that dropped for an RBI double.
You know, 36 straight games now. He's reached base.
He's tied Hanley's rookie record, but 3 Marlins are still above him. And he goes after a pitch in the dirt.
We haven't seen a lot of splitters from Dempster yet. He likes to use that, the left-handers. So he's shown a couple of them to Logan Morrison, last 2 pitches.
Dempster signed a contract extension a couple years back. Takes him through 2012. And if the Cubs keep getting what they're getting out of him, they'll be quite happy. 30-plus starts, an ERA below 4.
Well, tonight, if he goes 6 1/3 innings, that'll make it 3 years in a row he's gone 200 innings. So it gives you consistency, keeps you in games, goes out there every 5th day.
Three-two. Little tapper back to Dempster. And a 1-2-3 third for the pitch. Alex Sanabia back to work. A 1-0 Cubs lead. In the 4th, Xavier Nady. Now I know the university is pronounced Xavier, but he pronounces his name with the X, Xavier. Sanabia misses outside. Nady traveling a similar path to that of Jason Bay, a Padre, then a Pirate. Out of Salinas, California, down near Monterey and Pebble Beach.
A little more inland. Remember years ago, Salinas had a team, I believe it was Cleveland, was their affiliate in the California League.
The Salinas Packers. Was at one time the nickname of the minor league team in Salinas?
Yeah, I don't think it was the Packers, but I'm pretty sure they were affiliated with the Indians.
One-two. Foul back to the screen. Nady, a guy that when he signed his contract with the Padres, it stipulated he would go straight to the big leagues, so he went from college to the big leagues. But then the Padres would send him down to the minor leagues the next year.
One of those guys we saw on that list when we saw Mike Leake in Cincinnati.
1-2. Nady, of course, has also played for the Yankees after Pittsburgh. So didn't Bay go Padres, Pirates, Mets, whereas Nady goes Padres, Pirates, Yankees. To center, Maven is there and makes the catch. Nady lines out. Let's flip the phone here. Our AT&T trivia question. Barry Rothschild had just one strikeout in his brief major league career. Who did he strike out?
Well, we have to find out, who he pitched
It's got to be
against.
It's got to be a significant name, or else the crack staff has really failed us. I mean, if the crack staff brings out like,
well, let me give you a warning right now,
Kurt
Rich.
Bavacqua or somebody.
Rich, let me give you a warning right now. It's not a significant name. So now we know what the crack staff did on their off day.
Give us a team and a year, and at least give everybody a chance to play along at home rather than fall asleep on this one. 1981 is the year. Who did the guy play for?
You gotta go back to 81. Larry Rothschild appeared in 5 games with the Detroit Tigers, a little bit with Detroit in 82.
See, if it takes the crack staff this long to figure out which team the guy played for, how in the world are we supposed to answer that question? Good changeup by Sanabria, and he gets Giovanni Soto.
You know, one thing the Cubs hitters are doing, they're working Sanabria. He gets his second strikeout here. 15 batters have seen 78 pitches, so that's a little over 5 per batter. So they're making him work.
1981 Baltimore Orioles. Craig, you want to go with this one?
Of course, I have no idea.
Ken Singleton.
I'm going to throw in Al Bumbry. Was he on there? He was there at probably 81.
Ugla flips over to first. Don't be afraid to play along at home, all of you.
Just think you get to wait to hear this answer.
Door that we've seen. All right, everybody gather around. Here's that long-awaited
I know,
answer.
everyone's on the edge of their seat.
It was 81 Orioles, and I actually nailed it on the break. It was Rich Dower.
Rich Dower.
The only reason I guessed it was I figured I would pull an obscure Oriole out of my ear. Andy Etchebarren
I don't think he was there. He was there earlier.
Rich Dower.
Could have been John Lowenstein.
That's a good one.
Who did he platoon with? Ron Renicky.
Yep. It's one of the first great platoons. Earl Weaver, South Florida resident. Got a lot of production out of that spot. Gabby's up. And he hits a chopper out towards second. DeWitt flips to first. And there's an out here in the fourth. Up comes Ugla. So where are you on the whole Derek Jeter got hit and then needed medical attention when he didn't really get hit?
You know, it's a whole lot has been made of this, and it's something you see all the time. I mean, I've seen it firsthand when, you fake a foul ball off your ankle, or
guys fake.
I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, he played it out pretty well. Derek Jeter, being in New York, may have gone to some acting classes, but I mean, he played it out well. He got on base. That's what he needed to do for his team in a one-run game.
I think every player does it, although having the trainer and everybody come out, that was maybe a little much. I mean, just shake it off and jog down to first at that point. But
at also, that point, you can't wave the trainer off. Yeah,
it just say, hey, I'm fine. It hurts, but I'm fine. I'll be okay. And Jeter, after the game, said, yeah, I was, I didn't get hit. It hit the knob of the bat.
Yeah, I give him credit. I mean, he said, yeah, it didn't hit me. Just trying to win a game. That's a great series.
Joe Madden, of course, was not real pleased with the whole ordeal. The Rays at home losing to the Angels tonight 3-1 in the fourth.
It's always interesting to see how clubs react after an intense series, three-game series that the Rays had with the Yankees.
Hey, the Yankees are playing the hottest team in the American League East tonight, the Baltimore Orioles, 1-1 in the fourth. Ugla on that breaking ball. Ramirez got a short hop and just gets Ugla with the throw across. There are two outs. Here comes Chad Tracy. The Phillies continue to pound the Nationals 6-1 in the fourth. And the Braves just tied the game 3-3 with the Mets. Actually, the Braves just made it 6-3. Looks like Jason Hayward just went deep with a 3-run shot.
Got big hits in that Phillies game. Jason Worth and Raul Ibanez had a base hit and a couple of RBIs.
So that's a big rally right now in New York for the Braves. Tracy, the double in the second, 6 for 9 in his career against Dempster.
Dempster trying to figure a way to get Chad Tracy out. When we were talking about that platoon, I mistakenly said Gary Renicky. There were a couple of Renickies. It was Gary Renicky with the Orioles.
Was Ron Renicky an Angel?
He's with the Dodgers. Dodgers, Padres, and a little bit with the Reds.
Marlins Double-A affiliate Jacksonville with the series tied 1-1 in the best of 5 for the Southern League Championship. There's a 2-0 lead over the Smokies. Tracy pulls it foul.
Jeff Corzelletti with a 2-run homer for the Jacks.
Not related to Tom Gorzelani.
No.
Tracy is doing his part to try to drive up the pitch count. Soriano watches that one bounce into the seats. Dempster's pitch count at 65. Sanabia's at 60. And a fly ball lost in the twilight is the difference in this game.
All of a sudden, the Marlins having a little better approach against Dempster. This next pitch will be number 7 to Chad Tracy.
That one almost hit him. Lost him. So Tracy is aboard, and up comes Mike Stanton with 2 outs and a runner at first base. Dempster appeared to be very cautious with Stanton up there. He walked him on 4 pitches.
4 pitches. Well, he's walked 3. Now he's going to have to try to get back in the strike zone, see if Mike can get a strike from Ryan Dempster.
The curious numbers of Mike Stanton in this ballpark. We'll see if in the final games this season he's able to start to change them, but he has not hit well in this park. Dempster hits him.
Yeah, it is a strange number. You and I both had a chance to talk to John Maley about it. Even Marlins hitting coach is puzzled, and this fastball just gets away. No intent. Certainly, Dempster didn't want to do that.
They might want to check the ball for an indentation.
But it's a one of those numbers you can't figure out. You kind of wait till next year and see how it plays out.
Yeah, he's 150 in this ballpark. 17 of 113. He's hit 5 homers here, but that's amazing. Just 150 in this park. Now Maben, Marlins with an opportunity here, albeit with 2 outs. Cameron bouncing to a fielder's choice back in the second. You don't have a lot of speed at second. Dempster misses away. Maben is a guy that would like to move the needle over the last 2.5 weeks. Chopper, DeWitt backing up, and Castro gets the out, and the Marlins leave 2 more. Cubs still up 1-0. Poster autographed by Josh Johnson and Hanley Ramirez by taking a tour of the brand new sales headquarters at the Marlins' new ballpark. 1-877-411-2012. It's open tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you're in the car driving around, you want to check out the new stadium, stop by tomorrow morning, 11 to 1.
The guy's got the spelling correct.
Blake DeWitt, Ryan Dempster, Kosuke Fukudome. In a 1-0 game, Cubs got their run back in the second. Alex Sanavia's pitched well. It's an earned run, but it's one of those where the rules of baseball, if an outfielder loses the ball in the lights, in the sun, in the twilight, and it lands right next to him, he does not get an error. And thus,
I kind of agree with that. Hard to give a guy an error if he doesn't see the ball.
You can always rule defensive indifference on that. Bonifacio makes the catch. Actually, it was defensive panic for Logan. That's the better way to describe it. Because when that ball was up there and he didn't see it, man, that was panic. Sanavia's numbers pretty good first pitch strikes as well. He's been pounding the zone all night long. Now look at that. Cub fan and a Marlin fan.
They can coexist.
No, not this year. Not this year.
Not for a while, actually.
There you go.
Yeah.
Dempster bounced out. Mets have drawn a run closer, 6-4 Atlanta. That's in the fourth inning. Maben over, and he makes the catch. One of the things that Sanabia has done in his 9 starts, and even in this start, is make a pretty good case for a spot in the rotation next year. I know you got to go through spring training. He's got to have a solid spring, but whether it's Edwin or whoever's managing the ball club, you have to be pretty impressed with what this now 22-year-old has done.
And he's done it not just in the month of September, a handful of starts. This is his 10th start, his 13th appearance.
And he's done it not just in the major leagues. He was a winner in the minor leagues. His minor league career totals 25-18, an ERA of 3.72.
He was 6-1 between Double-A and Triple-A this year with good numbers. 98 in the third inning, 68 hits. He allowed just 68 hits. And always a good strikeouts to walks. 70 strikeouts, 19 walks.
And that's a great sign. And the higher the pitcher goes in the system, the better his record and the lower his ERA goes. That's what you want.
We haven't checked on the glove tonight to see if
I think it's the Mitre
Alex
model.
still has the yeah, it is the Sergio Mitre model. That's the one that he's got broken in.
Mitre, a workout partner in the offseason. Fukudome has walked twice. And up comes Starlin Castro. Pitch count in the 90s now for Sanabia at 94.
Yeah, then you start looking at that bullpen again.
And Sanabia is due up second in the bottom of the fifth. But if the Marlins feel they can get another inning out of him, they may just let him hit. 0-1 to Castro. Castro out of the Dominican Republic. Pops up a changeup, long run Stanton. No chance to get it, and it's 0-2. A lot of the Cub players, and especially broadcasters, are good friends. Len Kasper and Bob Brenly both want to talk about Stanton, eager to see both Stanton and Morrison play.
That's right. Back in May when we were in Chicago, those two guys were in the minor leagues. Yeah, you're right about the Cubs. One thing, they don't steal too many bases. The Cubs with just 52 stolen bases all year.
Ground ball, Bonifacio straightens up off the Ugla to get the out. Sanabia gets through the fifth. We'll see if he does come up and hit in the bottom half.
One of the favorites, magic tricks, and a big prankster. And I did a piece with him back in 2002 where we were skating on the ice. You know, he's a Canadian product out of Western Canada, and the two of us were skating. At the end of the piece, I said, Ryan, just kind of lightly bump me into the boards to be a kind of a fun way to end. Watch what he does here. That's the light bump. He literally put me through the glass there, and it was so fast I never did catch up with Ryan Dempster. As an addendum to the story, in the fifth inning, this is the first series I ever worked for the Marlins, and it just got to know David Sampson. He calls me upstairs, fifth inning, I'm talking to David, and Mr. Laurier was watching home, and obviously we're in Montreal, it's a hockey community, and he thought I was taking Dempster out ice skating just before his start in Montreal. So I had to tell David Sampson, who didn't know me from a hole in the wall at that point, no, we taped that in Melbourne about 3 weeks ago. We wouldn't do that to your starting pitcher. But one of our favorites, I know one of yours too, Ryan Dempster, and he's had quite a career as both a starting pitcher and as a closer.
Always some great shots, Craig, of him dropping the puck at some Blackhawk games in his Don Cherry sport coats as well. So he's a big hockey fan, and a great hockey town.
He also used to don some great-looking Chris Farley sport coats.
He's 1-2 on Davis. Davis, one of the bigger outs that Dempster has been able to get in this ball game. The Marlins had a couple runners aboard. back in the second. And he struck Davis out to finish the inning. DeWitt knocks it down and gets the out. And it is Sanabia who's going to come up, so obviously the Marlins feel that they'd like to get another inning out of the youngster.
Well, he's worked well. The only base hits, the 2 hits coming in that second inning, and of course one of those, the double lost in the twilight. So neither side has put together a lot of offense tonight.
Marlins leaving a pair in that second and another pair of runners in the fourth. Cubs have stranded 4.
I think Ryan Dempster is just a perfect example of a guy who's worked at his craft and improved. Certainly a different pitcher, more consistent than he was when he first came up as a Marlin. But he had some good years. He won 14, 15 games.
He was 14-10 in 2000, 15-12 the following year.
Threw a little harder then, walked a few more guys back then.
Nady way off the bag to get it, and Dempster at the bag first, and it's Bonifacio with 2 outs and nobody on. His name is in a lot of the pitcher top 5s in Marlins history.
Yeah, a lot of familiar names there. A lot of names that have supplied great entertainment and some terrific games over the years.
Want to know, in case you didn't hear about it earlier this week, the surgery for Ricky Nolasco went very well. Not nearly as severe an injury as Chris Coghlan, and thus not nearly as big a surgery as Coghlan needed. Bonifacio sends it out to left. 1-2-3 for Ryan Dempster. Turning vets a piece of the high life. Go to MillerHighLife.com for details. Alex Sanabia now ventures into the 6th, and he does so with a pitch count at 97. So in all likelihood, this is his final inning. He gets Bird, Ramirez, and Nady, heart of the order for the Cubs. Marlon Bird's 0 for 2. Goes after the first pitch. Cameron Maybin is there. Now, let me amend that, Tommy. If he has a 3-pitch inning, he's got a shot at coming back.
Yeah, he sure does. He has a shot. Hey, seeing Cameron Maybin make that catch brought up a thought, a question that we've talked about. If Cameron Maybin finishes out the season playing the way he has, nothing great, nothing bad, just out there, do you pencil him in as your center fielder next year automatically? Has he won that job? I'll answer my own question. I don't think so.
It's 23, so 24 next year.
I mean, I think you can allow him the opportunity to win the job.
Oh, without a doubt.
But I don't think he's shown that it's just hands down his.
Without a doubt, he would in all likelihood go to spring training.
Yes.
With a good chance, if he has a very good spring, to break camp as the opening day center fielder. Marlins have a big question mark at third base. There's Burke Badenhop. As Chris Coughlin, coming off of knee surgery, apparently is going to try to make the jump from left field back to third base. They've got a big question mark behind home plate, do the Marlins. And of course, we were talking about the rotation. Sanabia has shown enough that he will, I'm sure, be given every opportunity to win a job in the rotation. So, 3-2. He's gone high fastballs to Ramirez a lot.
So it should make for an interesting offseason. There'll be some decisions that have to be made, certainly. Managerially wise, will Edwin be back, or will someone else be?
There are going to be a lot. I mean, there will be more managerial talk, I think, in the offseason than player talk all over baseball. We showed you the three as Ramirez finally strikes out. Sanabia, a good sequence. He kept it up, kept it in.
And then got him with a changeup.
Yeah. we told you about the three legends that are retiring. Joe Torre in Los Angeles, giving way to Don Mattingly. Bobby Cox in Atlanta. Lou Piniella already has stepped down. But throughout baseball, there's probably another half dozen at the very least jobs that could pop open. And the Cubs certainly are one of those teams. Mike Quade is well liked. Well, jam shot, and it dives into right field for a base hit.
Yeah, most people feel that Jerry Manuel won't be back with the Mets. I think our Met insider feels that way.
Is that why you keep getting texts from Mrs. Met?
Met insider.
Breaking ball driven into left center. Morrison after it, won't get it. Takes a weird bounce all the way up to the top of the wall. And Nady is going to score. Boy, you expect that ball to hit the track, hit the wall, and come back to an outfielder. That must have hit the very lip of that rubberized warning track and almost bounced out. Watch this thing off the bat of Giovanni Soto.
Well, there are a couple of things to talk about. It's the first pitch to Giovanni Soto. Giovanni Soto, there's a slider. He hasn't thrown a whole lot of those. This year, hitting over 500 on the first pitch. Now, this ball bounces straight up in the air And keep in mind, Nady got there because he was jammed and just blooped one into shallow right field. So a crazy hop, a jam shot, and all of a sudden it looks like that's going to be all for Alex Sanabia.
Well, it's a tough night because the runs that the Cubs have scored, certainly not a lot of hard hits in there. Here's a Marooney called to the pen.
When you need a car, truck or van.
The Cubs on top of the Fish. Badenhop misses inside to Alfonso Soriano. Burke Badenhop is in. Alex Sanabia is out. Soriano is up. With Giovanni Soto out at second base. And Hopper gets a strike. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. So the Marlins are into the bullpen here in the 6th inning. Soriano hit the ball to left field that Morrison lost in the twilight. It dropped beside him. RBI double. And that's how the Cubs got their run with 2 outs in the 2nd to begin their scoring. They have another one here in the 6th. Good backup breaking ball right on the corner.
Yeah, you saw Soriano flinch a little bit. He thought that ball was going to be inside. And you can get another inning out of the Hopper. He's not due up for a while. So that would be the hope of Edwin, I would think.
Waited on that breaking ball. One hop. Morrison has it. Runner coming home. Lomo's throw on a hop. Davis beats him. Tags him. He's out. Giovanni Soto trying to get to the inner half of the plate, but Davis got there first. A nice throw by Morrison. It's 2-0 Cubs. Angle, the glove went over the hand, beat him to the bag, and Adrian Johnson gave Xavier Nady the benefit of the doubt. Ryan Dempster has been baffling all night for the Fish. Just 2 hits, 2-0 Cubs lead.
Yeah, the one base hit, a bloop single by Dan Uggla. The hardest hit ball hit by Chad Tracy, a double to left center. And what a nice throw by Logan Morrison to get Soto trying to score on that base hit of Soriano's.
Well, we told you about Dempster on the road and how well he's pitched. His last 4 road starts, 4-0 with a 0.99 ERA, and that ERA is going down as we speak.
Well, the Marlins, Rich, have 32 outfield assists, and that leads the National League.
Before he was injured, Chris Coughlin had a good year. Breaking ball up.
I think what happens, you have some young outfielders that teams are trying to take advantage of, like Morrison, like Mike Stanton.
Morrison hits that one to left. Soriano misplays it over his head, and Lomo's got himself a double.
Let me yell something out to Soriano. Hey, Alfonso, Logan Morrison has a little pop to the other field. He didn't think that ball was going far at all. Totally misplayed this ball. Probably would have been in the basket at Wrigley. But Logan just reaches out, and this ball jumps over Soriano's head. Kind of the way he skips when he catches a fly ball.
He needed to do a little less skipping on that. And so the Fish with a leadoff double here in the 6th. Now you've got Gabby and Uggla. Dempster paints with a nice knee-high fastball.
How about Morrison now with 17 doubles, going along with his 5 triples?
Gabby shoots a ground ball up the middle. Nice stop by DeWitt, and he saves a run and gets an out. A sliding backhanded stop by the former Dodger.
Blake DeWitt, when we saw him with the Dodgers, he's a scrappy player, makes a good play there going to his right. And even though Gabby gets the job done, he thought he had himself maybe a base hit, but robbed by DeWitt.
Now to make it pay off, Dan Uggla needs to put a ball in play here and drive in a run. With 1 out, runner at third. Infield up the middle is back.
By the way, Soriano, that's not an error. It's just a misjudged ball, but he leads the National League with 7 errors for an outfielder.
This has not been an automatic for Uggla this year, as you saw those numbers. Line drive at Ramirez.
That's just bad luck. Hit the ball hard, solid swing, got a good pitch. The only problem, he hit it right to Aramis Ramirez. Nicely done by Morrison, too, to just hold his ground and not get doubled off.
Now you've got Dempster facing Tracy. He pitched to him in the 2nd. Tracy doubled. He didn't pitch to him in the 4th. He almost dusted him off twice and ended up walking him.
He hasn't pitched to Stanton either. He's walked him and hit him.
Throws him a strike, and it's 0-1. Tracy 6 for 9 in his career with a homer and 3 RBIs against Dempster. He likes to throw that splitter to a lefty. That puts a little pressure on Soto with a runner at third. Fouls back a breaking ball. And the count 1-2.
You can tell that Chad Tracy picks up Ryan Dempster pretty well. He's had some good swings all night.
See what he gets. 1-2. High fastball.
You mentioned, Rich, the Marlins acquiring Dempster from Texas. Texas drafted him. Marlins traded John Burkett to the Texas Rangers for Ryan Dempster.
Same pattern that Dempster had against Tracy his last at bat. He got ahead of him, and then he just tried high fastballs up, and his last two pitches were up and in.
Dempster himself's at 98 pitches.
Stayed with the fastball up, and he struck him out. The Marlins leave a runner at third. In that kind of night, 2-0 Cubs. .53. Ernie Banks makes his Major League debut against Philadelphia. He is 0 for 3 with a walk, scored a run, and they only played one game then. Ernie Banks, of course, a Hall of Famer.
Shortstop, moved over to play first base late in his career. And a joy to be around.
Blake DeWitt, pitcher's spot. And then top of the order in Kosuke Fukudome. And it is Dempster who's on deck. DeWitt goes around, and the hopper goes to 1-2.
Couldn't hold back on that changeup.
Rick Badenhop came in. There's a look at Dempster in relief of Alex Sanabia. Sanabia went 5 2/3 innings. Gave up the 2 runs. Both were earned on 5 hits. And threw the ball well. Even though his pitch count got up, the 1 run, of course, scored on a routine fly ball that was lost by Logan Morrison. The other on the RBI double by Giovanni Soto.
And to set up that double with 2 out, Xavier Nady kind of checked his swing, got jammed, and blooped a single into right field.
That pop-up is going to find a home in Bonifacio's glove. There's an out here in the 7th inning. A lot of interesting stuff going on in the National League tonight. Of course, everybody knows around here how good and how hot the Phillies are, and they're showing it again tonight back at home where they're so good. They're up 7-1 over the Washington Nationals in support of Roy Oswalt, who's out of the game now in the 7th. 7-1. Phillies on top of the Nationals. The Braves were down 3-0, rallied to make it 6-3, and it's now 6-4 in the 7th. Atlanta on top of the Mets. That's in New York. Dempster, a little tapper, king of the comebacker. That would be the hopper, and he gets the out at first. The other game of note, just because they are now a half game back in the wild card, the Padres are in St. Louis. That's a tough 4-game series for the Padres. They've had terrible success in St. Louis. The Cardinals eliminated them from the postseason 2 years in a row, about 3-4 years ago. 3-2 St. Louis on top of San Diego, bottom of the 2nd.
Well, as you said earlier, San Diego has the toughest of schedules. So it's not going to be easy, and they're also at a stretch where things are not going their way right now.
If they can stay close, they finish the season in San Francisco in a 3-game series. Fukudome has been very patient tonight.
So that could be a very interesting series. Yeah, the Giants getting a little bit of everything. I mean, they got a well-pitched game from Jonathan Sanchez last night. Struck out 12 Dodgers. They got home runs from Huff and Posey and Jose Keane.
Boy, Aubrey Huff, if you're going to pick an MVP on that Giants team, isn't Aubrey Huff?
You may have to start throwing his name in the mix for the MVP of the National League. He's got 26 home runs. He has 84 RBIs.
He'll be in those others receiving votes category, but of course he plays in a real pitcher's friendly park. And his history has shown only one guy thrived there for home runs, really, and that was Barry Bonds.
So with the Cardinals fading, 7 games behind Cincinnati, I don't know if you can rule out Albert Pujols. He's certainly going to be in that, but now you have to start focusing on the guys that are on the contending team. Joey Votto, Adrian Gonzalez,
Carlos Gonzalez,
Cargo.
Not to take anything away from Carlos Gonzalez, but his home road splits are pretty dramatic, with the Coors Field being his home ballpark.
How about the run that Tulowitzki's on too?
Yeah. Oh, he's been
a couple of home runs. He had 7 RBIs the other night.
He's been enormous for the Rockies, but as we pointed out earlier, the Rockies are going to have to do a lot of their damage on the road to finish. They have 16 games remaining, 10 of them on the road.
Well, tonight they're in Los Angeles with Ubaldo Jimenez trying to win his 19th game
against Hiroki Kuroda. What kind of manager is Don Mattingly going to be? Here's Starlin Castro. And do you think anyone knows?
Nobody knows. He's never managed. I mean, he was on the bench with Joe Torre in L.A. What was it earlier in the year? The one little experience he had when Joe got thrown out of a game. Mattingly got caught in making a little mistake in a pitcher change, and they had to take the pitcher out.
Of course, the other way to go about it is the way the Cubs legend Ryne Sandberg has done it. He went to the minor leagues and has managed. Pitch out, runner going, throw on the money and waiting. Fukudome is thrown out. Nice job by Brad Davis. And a brief 7th inning for the Cubs. Still 2-0 Chicago.
There hadn't been a whole lot of action, but earlier in the game was Soriano lofting that fly ball. It was lost in the twilight, and that brought in a run. Second run for the Cubs came on a double by Giovanni Soto, with Xavier Nady reaching on a jam shot single. And the pitchers have been very good in this game, and especially Ryan Dempster. He's gone through the Marlins lineup, giving up just 3 hits.
Mike Stanton takes a fastball up, and so the Marlins need to get busy now. Into the bottom of the 7th, down 2-0. Stanton, Maben, Davis against Dempster. The back of the Cubs bullpen.
First strike that Mike has seen. Yeah. No, I take that back. He saw one before he got hit.
The back of the Cubs bullpen has been very good lately, and that would be Carlos Marmol. Stanton, a breaking ball. Bounces off of Castro, and it's out into right center. Stanton around first, hustling into second, in there. Hit sharply. If it's an error, it's the 26th of the season on the rookie shortstop.
Yeah, it's probably going to be an error, and it is. But this ball is hit hard, and when Mike gets a little bit on top of the ball, that topspin just takes it out there in a hurry. And you can see how the spin kicks it away from Castro. He is charged with that error, 26 now. And running hard all the way, Mike ends up at second base.
JM Lexus presents leaders of the game. You can see the Cubs, the most errors in the National League. Maben trying to bunt, fouls it. Castro has contributed 26 of the 120. The Fish at 113.
Well, I think you can see how important defense is. You know where all those teams are. None of them in first place. So you have to play defense to win at any level.
Of course, you have to score runs, too. There's a team up in Seattle that plays great defense, but is having a historically inept season offensively. It's Thomas Diamond. The Seattle Mariners are on pace to have the fewest amount, score the fewest amount of runs, I think, in about 30 years.
That's incredible. In a league where there's the DH.
1972, their pace is, if they keep it up, to score as fewer runs, and the last team to do it was back in 72.
Which was before the DH.
Which was the year that forced, or I guess gave some momentum to the DH, was that 72 season. Line into left field, base hit. Up with the ball, Soriano. Stanton will stop there. The Marlins have runners at the corners. And now here is Davis to face Dempster for the 3rd time tonight.
Well, this is solid by Cameron Maben. Good to see him have an approach like this. Looked like one of those sliders, but it stayed up in the zone. Hit it so hard that Stanton couldn't score from second. But the Marlins, for the first time, in business with nobody out.
See, Wes Helms has just walked on deck. Dempster goes over to first. Helms in his career has hit Dempster well. He's 5 for 10 with 3 RBIs against Dempster. Whether he gets to face him or not remains to be seen. Bottom 7, Marlins down 2-0. And a fastball right down the middle. Davis struck out in the 2nd. Oh, 1. Just missed. That was close.
Very close.
Very close. That's borderline strike.
Well, obviously what the Cubs and Dempster would like to get is a double play here.
In the dirt, Maben's running. Nice jump. Big stolen base. Eliminates
the double play.
The double play. Got it.
So heads up right here to take away that double play possibility, and Soto would have not had any kind of chance.
So let's see what happens now as Davis with the infield back now. So a ground ball up the middle scores a run. And he went after a pitch way out of the zone. It's 2-2. Ground ball to the right side could score a run and move Maben up. And with 2 strikes now, Davis just trying to make contact.
Yeah, once it gets 2 strikes, your focus is just try to put the ball in play. You'd love to put it to play, as you said, to the right side.
Full count, 3-2. That was off the plate. Dempster at 111 pitches. We told you how well Helms hits him. Helms is on deck. So this might just be his last hitter of the night.
Yeah, he's getting up there with pitches as well.
Breaking ball, he popped it back behind first. DeWitt is there, makes the catch. And the Marlins don't score that run. And here comes Helms. Let's see if Mike Quade comes out to get him. No, Larry Rothschild is going out under the direction of Quade. And so with Helms coming up, Rothschild has orders from the manager that he's going to impart upon Ryan Dempster. Family Sunday will finish off this series with the Cubs Sunday at 1:10. Make sure you get to the ballpark early. First 5,000 fans get a Dan Ugla poncho courtesy of Lauderdale Infinity. Kids can run the bases in the Diamond Dash after the game. 1-877 Marlins.
Quick conversation. So whatever Mike Quade wanted to have Larry Rothschild impart to his pitcher, he got it done. Alan Trammell on that bench along with Quade. Quade, an Illinois native as well, Evanston, Illinois. So a special time for him to be managing the Cubs.
Quade was pushing Xavier Nady back a little bit at first. Infield's back. Helms takes a fastball for a strike. It had some run on it, that fastball did. And it's 0-1. There's 2 different sets of numbers here. As you see Stanton at third base and Maben at second. Helms has hit Dempster well, but he's not hit righties well this year. And he fouls that back, and Dempster's out in front of him, 0-2.
Yeah, Wes has done most of his damage this year against left-handers. There are those numbers against Dempster.
Helms has hit just 195 against righties, 364 against lefties. Fastball up, 1-2.
Dempster still has pretty good life on his fastball.
We certainly have great speed right there with Cameron Maben as the trail runner. Up and in. 2-2. Bonifacio.
Well, they've added a left-hander in that bullpen for the Cubs. Of course, Bonifacio, a switch hitter. You actually do him a favor if you get him over to the right side.
Maybe that lefty's up for Logan Morrison. 2-2 pitch. That one is over in the seats. Of course, you may be doing Logan a favor by bringing a left in, too. The way he's hit lefties.
Yeah, hitting much higher against lefties than righties.
The focus right now on Ryan Dempster and Wes Helms. 117 pitches into this one.
Got to go back to August 15th when he threw 119. He's gotten up into this neighborhood before.
Got him with a breaking ball. Dempster. The Marlins with runners at second and third and nobody out, and they cannot get a run in. And now it's up to Bonifacio.
Well, he dropped a real good slider, but you have to think of the pitches before. Wes had some pitches before that he had a chance to hit. And that time Dempster came up and made a great pitch to get the strikeout.
Soto out to talk to Dempster. Bonifacio's 0 for 3 against Dempster tonight. Wide out, bounced out trying to bunt for a hit. First pitch to Bonifacio, runs outside. You got Morrison on deck.
Got a little pressure on the infield. They know the speed of Bonifacio.
Now Ramirez, see him on the grass at third base. Bonifacio runs up to bunt. A strike, it's 1-1.
Not a bad idea.
For a little guy, that's going to be a strike.
Yeah.
I think he did. Tim McClellan says swing.
Good job by Soto to keep that ball in front of him. They went around.
One, two.
I think a credit to the way he works. Ryan Dempster had Tommy John surgery in 03. And here he is on a warm night in South Florida, 122 pitches, still making good pitches in the 7th inning.
You can see the sweat in his jersey has almost turned his jersey a different shade of gray from the rest of his uniform. Got him with a breaking ball, and Dempster pitches out of second and third and nobody out. Ouch. Dempster, who pitches out of trouble time in and time out, and has been splendid tonight, has his ball club up. That last strikeout of Bonifacio, a big one with runners at second and third. Here's his body of work, Mr. Dempster, our Mass Mutual in-game box score brought to you by Mass Mutual. Morrison had a double. Tracy had a double. And a couple singles from Ugla and Maven, and that's it. The Marlins have not done a real good job with runners on base or runners in scoring position.
No, they have not. And if they expect to do anything tonight, they'll have to do it off the Chicago Cubs bullpen.
Jose Veras is out of the Marlins bullpen. He takes over for Burke Badenhop. Hopper went an inning and a third. Gave up a hit and a walk. Did not give up a run. Veras to Castro and a big swing and a foul back. Well, the St. Louis Cardinals have come storming back. 8-2, they lead the Padres. It's not looking so good for San Diego right now. That's in just the third inning. 8-2 in the third.
Wow. They came out of that 10-game losing streak, and I think Matt Latos started that game too for San Diego. They came out of that 10-game losing streak. Looked like they were starting to put it together again, but it's like the schedule has caught up with them a little bit too.
Yeah, they're on the road for that 4-game series against the Cardinals, and remember they still have to play the Reds as well as the teams in their division, including that final 3-game series in San Francisco. 0-2 coming from Veras. A couple good breaking balls. The second one a ground ball to Tracy. Fires across to Gabby. An out here in the 8th. Look at the Marlins schedule brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. Big Super Saturday tomorrow night. Marlins going with Anibal Sanchez. Casey Coleman will get the start for the Cubs. 6:30 for Marlins Live. Just if we look at the Marlins schedule, you can live forward with Just for Men Hair Color. Marlon Byrd. There's a pretty good pitch, and it's 1-0.
Rich, a rough night for South Florida's Matt Latos. Inning and a third, 9 hits and 8 runs.
I don't think there was a home run in there, was there? I think Miguel Tejada's homered in that game, but
yeah, I think that's the only homer in the game.
Bird gets into this one. Stanton is there. Mike makes the catch. And there are 2 outs. The Phillies have a 7-1 lead. Jason Worth homering, his 22nd. And that's in the bottom of the 8th as the Phillies try to win, I believe, their 5th in a row. There's Cookie and Tito tonight. Press the SAP button if you would like to hear what they're chatting about.
Tito's been busy in the last few games. Raul Stryker on other assignments.
Trotting the globe to bring you the constant variety of sports. The thrill, no, you've heard that before.
And the agony.
Yeah. Here's the 1-0. Of course, the first words are actually spanning the famous Jim McKay Open to Wide World of Sports. Ball and a strike. And Ramos Ramirez, an 0 for 3 night. Cubs really haven't hit the cover off the ball in this one. They have the 5 hits. The Marlins have 4.
You know, you talked about the inability of the Marlins with runners in scoring position. 1 for 10 tonight.
One, 2.
And that one, the hard hit single by Cameron Maben that Mike Stanton couldn't score on. He hit it so hard, standing at second base, it couldn't score.
2-2. Got him. Good breaking ball. And a nice inning by Veras. Marlins bullpen sharp tonight. Badenhop and Veras. 2 in the 3rd inning of scoreless relief. The error of this ball game. Our Mass Mutual in-game box score for the Cubs. You can see all the damage done right there between Nady, Soto, and Soriano. Soriano's RBI double was the fly ball that Morrison lost in the twilight. Soto's double was the one that hit the very tip of the warning track and bounced straight up about 20, 25 feet in the air.
Yeah, the first 4 hitters in their lineup are 0 for 13. The middle part's done a little damage. Andrew Kashner's done a little damage this year. ERA not the greatest. He throws hard. He's mid-90s or a little better. You know, you put him in that almost that Marmol category because he has a hard slider, but he can get wild. So
Logan Morrison takes down low. Kashner just turned 24. He's 6'6", 210. A Texas lad. He played his college ball at TCU. And he runs that out. Morrison with the count 2-0. Morrison has walked, doubled, 36 straight on base now. Shoots that one to left. Counts 2-1.
Yeah, you can see those last 2 fastballs at 96 from Kashner. Haven't talked too much about the American League. The Twins kind of took care of the White Sox, beating the White Sox 3 straight.
Well, the Twins,
what do they have? A 9-game lead now.
And again, we've talked about the injuries that they've had to overcome. They lost their all-star closer, Joe Nathan. Justin Morneau has been out with a concussion. What a shame it would be for the Twins to get to the postseason and Morneau not to be able to play because of that concussion.
Yeah, time's starting to run out. They're really hoping that they could maybe get him ready, but you just have to wonder. John Marshall's starting to loosen up.
Yeah, Brian Sanchez in the Marlins pen.
Carl Pavano won his 17th game. That's nasty. I've never seen a guy before. You get yourself geared up for a couple of 96-mile-an-hour fastballs. So he dropped a nasty breaking ball on Logan Morrison. And a good one. Yeah, Pavano 17 and 11 for the Twins. And here's one that kind of snuck up on you. The Twins now are just a half game off the Tampa Bay Rays for the best record in baseball.
Well, that'd be enormous to get home field advantage in their new ballpark, at least through the American League portion of the postseason. The National League has home field in the World Series.
So switching ballparks certainly hasn't hurt the Twins this year, going from the Metrodome to outside.
You know, I never heard if they did this. Did they ever cut up the baggie and sell pieces of the baggie in right field?
They should have.
Cashner's snapping off some good, sharp breaking balls.
Yeah, baggie in right center field.
Gabby was on that one, and he punches it into left field for a base hit. A one-out single. Now here comes Ugla. With one out, we check in with A-Dub. Allison?
Hey, Rich. Hey, Tommy. Well, I talked to Keshner a little bit earlier today in the clubhouse, and he actually got to enjoy South Florida a little bit because they had an off day yesterday. Even though they got in late on Wednesday night, he was able to go down and go fishing down in Miami. He didn't have such good luck, though. He said he caught absolutely nothing, and they were out there for quite a few hours. But he did see a couple sharks, which he thought was pretty cool, and some stingrays, but uneventful. Not much luck fishing. Him and one of the trainers headed out there.
Well, a little fishing in the off day. They got in, you're right, early hours after sweeping St. Louis. Cashner misses in. Ugla. Ugla with a runner in scoring position hit a line smash at third base. That was back in the 6th inning. Logan Morrison was in third. Ugla got a breaking ball from Dempster. And it may have been the, aside from the Tracy double, the second best ball the Marlins hit all night against Dempster. You have to throw him a fastball 2-0.
He snapped off that breaking ball pretty consistently. So if you're a hitter, you'd like to think you're going to get that fastball.
He did, but it ran inside at 98 miles an hour.
Lefty, we saw Sean Marshall warming up. We got Chad Tracy on deck, and not a lot of options for Edwin Rodriguez. This is where his hands get tied.
The only question mark would be, can Hanley Ramirez pinch hit? Ugla, a big rip at a 3-0 pitch. That's a swing that'll realign the vertebrae. There's Tracy. Wes Helms has already hit tonight. That's up. And so Ugla walks. Marlins first and second. Tracy's coming to the plate. Mike Quade is coming to the mound. And he's going to go with the lefty. We'll see if the Marlins will counter. Here's a Marooney called to the pen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Marooney!
left-hander here in Sean Marshall, and this really speaks to the tough spot that Edwin Rodriguez has been placed in because of a few injuries and because of lack of performance. He does not have a deep bench. He does not have weapons on that bench, and so Chad Tracy is going to hit against the left-hander.
We're in September. Every team the Marlins play, Braves, Phillies, even the Cubs. Cubs have 9 men coming off their bench. Lefties, righties.
Breaking ball misses.
And here's a situation where the Marlins are strapped. The only right-hander that could hit here is Hector Luna. But at least Tracy's been in the game a little bit. But this is a tough assignment. He's only seen 4 left-handers this year. He's 1 for 4.
Hector Luna is 2 for 22 this year. 1-0. There's that tough breaking ball.
You're absolutely right. Usually at this time of year, you got a lot of guys you can unload, try a few things. Marlins don't have that, and it's unfortunate.
Obviously, Hanley Ramirez is not well enough to hit. Another breaking ball for a strike. Of course, this was a spot where you might see a Donnie Murphy until he had that terrible wrist injury that required surgery.
Hanley, by the way, against Sean Marshall, 4 for 10 with a home run.
One, two. Breaking ball up the middle. One there. Castro dropped the ball. The out is recorded. And the Marlins still have life here in the inning.
Yeah, that's double play all the way.
With Tracy running, you bet it is. Castro has made an error. That's not an error, but it should have easily been a double play.
Yeah, this should have been routine in the transition. He drops it. He gets the feed from DeWitt, a good one, and just loses it.
It goes as a simple fielder's choice, and now Stanton gets to hit against the lefty.
And that's been a struggle for Mike. He's just 13 for 70 against left-handers, a 186 average, and only 1 of his home runs.
He sees a big sweeper for a strike. Fouls it back, and now it's 0-2.
Got that fastball, might be the best pitch he sees in this at bat.
There's Gabby. Tracy across the diamond. See what he gets. 0-2. Breaking ball. Tried to get in the back door.
I think it missed. But that's exactly where he wanted to put it.
And it is out, but not by much.
Look at that second pitch, that fastball. That was right there.
One, two. Got him with the breaking ball. The Marlins leave 2 more out there and still trail it 2-0. at 7:10. Tuesday's edition of the Miami Herald will have a 2 for Tuesday coupon, 1-877-MARLINS, or go to marlins.com. A very frustrating night for the Fish against Ryan Dempster and now the Cubs bullpen. The Marlins, Tommy, have not had a good night with runners in scoring position.
1 for 12 runners in scoring position, and they've stranded 9. So they've had opportunities.
Marlins bullpen has been good. Brian Sanchez takes the baton from Jose Veras. Sanchez gets Xavier Nady, Giovanni Soto, and Alfonso Soriano.
And the bottom of the 9th, the Marlins have the bottom of the order. 7, 8, 9 spots coming up. And it'll be against a guy who can get wild, but's been on a pretty good roll, who has more strikeouts than any relief pitcher in baseball, Carlos Marmol.
That's a swing, says Adrian Johnson. Count 1-1. Sanchez 2 scoreless innings in relief Wednesday in what was a marathon for the bullpen. Up the middle, Bonifacio behind the bag makes a nice play. Sanchez was the only reliever. Well, he and Brent Sinkbill, the only relievers not to give up a run. Sinkbill had a much shorter stint. Sanchez went 2 innings.
Yeah, Brian got the game ball in that one. And there is Carlos Marmol. 31 saves, terrific ERA, but a tremendous strikeout ratio.
Here is Soto. Looked like a breaking ball from Bryant. He'll drop that in every now and then amongst the fastballs and the splitters. Braves have taken that lead, that 6-4 lead, into the ninth, and Billy Wagner is in trying to save it for Atlanta.
Well, they need it with the Phillies having their commanding lead.
Well, that's a good breaking ball there. That would be 2 outs. Tomorrow would be at Fox Saturday, Tommy, and on Fox Saturday Baseball. Speaking of Braves and Mets, 4 Eastern, 3 Central, Fox Saturday Baseball, brought to you by Gillette. Couple outs for Sanchez. Soriano is up. He's 2 for 3. Marlins will have Maben, Davis, and the pitcher spot up. Just missed. Ball and a strike. The Phillies ended up winning that game, Tommy, 9-1. Just for good measure, Carlos Ruiz hit a homer late. He and Worth hit the home runs. And so the Phillies keep on rolling. The Nationals, of course, just coming from Atlanta where they took 2 of 3 from the Braves. But the Phillies pounded them 5 in a row now for Philadelphia. 87 wins on the season. They're now 48-28 at home. It's one thing about the Braves. It'll be interesting down the stretch. The Braves are under 500 on the road. Sanchez with a splitter, and that takes care of Soriano. Marlins need some runs, and they're running out of outs. In his 7 innings of work, shutting out the Marlins, pitching out of jams. The Marlins 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. And Dempster, the chief reason that the Cubs are up 2-0, bottom of the 9th. Carlos Marmol out of the bullpen.
We told you another change. Sam Fold comes in to play left field. He'll hit in that 9th spot. Marmol will hit Soriano's spot. He is averaging almost 2 strikeouts per inning. 122 strikeouts in his 69-plus innings. And he's been pretty good with the walks, 46 walks. But we have seen him when he can lose command altogether. But fastballs and sliders, and they're both nasty.
Maben, Davis, and then question mark for the Marlins here in the 9th. And Marmol starts with a fastball that misses up. Marmol's run right now, Tommy pointed out the strikeouts that lead all big league relievers. He's retired 12 of the last 13 hitters he's faced. And he's had a streak of 10 successful save opportunities closed. Bends that one outside. It's 2-1. Three and 1. See his workload. Off day yesterday.
Most teams at this time of year, too, have 3 catchers. So you can pinch hit for one of them, have another one go in, still have a guy left.
Ball 4. So Maben walks. Here comes Davis. Scott Cousins is on deck. Well, it was a big out that Dempster got when he got Davis to pop out. Marlins had runners at second and third and nobody out in the 7th. And Davis popped to the second baseman. Marmol misses away with a breaking ball. And a concerned Giovanni Soto trots out to the mound.
There's one thing about Marmol. I think we saw it in one of the games in Chicago. Sometimes he has trouble throwing his fastball for strikes, and he'll stay primarily with that big breaking slider.
Do you think somewhere in his Tampa home, Lou Piniella is pacing back and forth, muttering, Marmol?
Nah.
And he misses away, and it's 2-0.
Again with the slider.
And here comes Larry Rothschild out. If you're listening out there, Lou, we hope you're enjoying your retirement. You know, the funny thing about the Joe Torre announcement today, he didn't really announce that he was retiring from managing.
Just stepping down from the Dodgers job at the end of the year.
Right. There was no definitive announcement saying I've retired, I'm not going to manage again.
I thought it was interesting because then it was said that Mattingly will take over next year. But I thought teams had to go through that interview process. The Marlins actually got fined one time for not doing that. But they just went ahead and named Don Mattingly, Joe's successor, for next year. A lot of wins between those 3 guys. A lot of great times, too.
I don't know if Major League Baseball could find the Dodgers right now. They'd have to line up in court at this point because the ownership of the Dodgers is really in doubt with the legal mess in Los Angeles. No, Marmol finally threw a strike, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, and it was with a fastball. See if he throws it again. Yeah.
You
got to be ready for that one. Because all of a sudden, he wasn't getting his slider over. I guarantee one of the things Larry Rothschild told him was, stick with that fastball. He threw one, and then the second one froze Brad Davis.
That one almost took his kneecap off. I mean, pretty good chance he's going to get a fastball here, Tommy.
You got to be ready for the fastball here. If he drops a nasty slider on you, it's okay.
Three-two. Fastball, fouled the back. Oh, he went back to the slider and he missed. And the Marlins have a pair of runners aboard. There is nobody out. Here comes Cousins.
Yeah, it's amazing. He went with that slider again. Once you're a hitter, you pick it up right away because it started away, and you pick up spin. You know it's going to end up way outside.
Look at the spray chart.
And it's a good thing for the Cubs that Ronnie Santo hasn't made this trip to South Florida, because he would be over in that radio booth with Pat Hughes moaning and groaning right now.
Well, here's Cousins. You got Bonifacio on deck. Goes after the first pitch, pops it up. Right center field. Fukudome and Bird, and it's Bird who comes in and makes the catch. Well, Cousins, it looked like he was looking fastball.
Yeah, I can't fault him for that. It's tough to give a young pinch hitter especially the take sign when you know you're going to get that fastball. Scott's a little better low ball hitter, and that one was up. Because if you give him the take sign, he throws that fastball strike, and all of a sudden you're in the hole 0-1 to a guy who has real good stuff. So I don't mind him swinging at the first pitch. He just got under it. Fastball was up a little.
Here's Bonifacio now. Marmol's fastball for a strike, 0-1.
Three of the last 4 innings, Rich, excuse me, the leadoff batter has reached second base for the Marlins.
And he just flat threw it by him. It's 0-2. Look at that. With runners in scoring position tonight.
Ouch. And almost looks like Marmol now got second life when he got Cousins out on one pitch and just blew Bonifacio away with fastballs.
Yeah, Bonifacio was overmatched. So it's down to this. It's Logan Morrison against Marmol. Morrison, I'm sure, has seen Marmol pitch, but only on television. Started him with a breaking ball for a strike.
Now he's starting to get a feel out there on the mound.
Ball and a strike. Morrison tonight has doubled in 3 trips. Remember, the tying run at first is Brad Davis, not the fleetest of foot. Maven's at second. Outfield's really deep. And Morrison's in a hole now, 1-2.
Also, remember, the Marlins have had some exciting come-from-behinds against the Cubs over the years.
Marmol ready. 1-2 coming. Breaking ball, little looper. Left field line. Castro diving catch. He made it. Starlin Castro, a full-out dive, makes the catch, and the Cubs win the ball game. Right on the foul line. It looked like a fair ball. It was a fair ball on Exmo.
Well, that's a great play. No one else was going to get it. Fold was not going to get there. Ramirez was not going to get there. And Castro came out of nowhere. This ball's trouble if he doesn't make that play.
And for the Marlins, 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position. Add it all up, the Cubs shut out the Fish by a score of 2-0. Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. Not much of a blast, but this is cold. Lost it in the twilight. Run number 1. Watch the hop off the front of the warning track straight up. That was cold as well. And those are your Coors Light Cold Hard Blasts of the night. So the Cubs win it 2-0. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Marooney, South Florida. When you need a car, truck, or van, who are you going to call? 1-877-MAROONY. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. Ryan Dempster with help from his bullpen and a rookie shortstop as well. 2-0. Cubs shut out the Fish. Marlins live next.